The glory that is the mullet of Jennings Dunker, the offensive tackle from Iowa,
boy.
doing drills with that mane flapping in the breeze, despite the fact that they're indoors. And there it goes. I mean, just spectacular. Dan, what can you say about a head of hair like that?
Yeah, I would say to start, I don't know if this is the cast that gets to choose dope or nope.
How dare you? I think in this particular case.
Now we're talking.
Mike T actually looks the best.
Now we're talking.
Mike T looks like John Daly.
It does. That's a great one.
I don't know if I like that.
That's it.
You know, it's ridiculous how natural all of those look on us.
I look like Blair from Facts of Life. Is that a good reference? No?
That's a reference that only I get, but I like it very much. Okay, we are counting it down to the franchise tag deadline, which is tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time.
can't unsee
Meanwhile, on Friday, the Cowboys placed their franchise tag on George Pickens. That's no surprise. It gives him a guaranteed salary of just under $27.3 million. After finishing last year below 500, Jerry Jones told reporters at the Combine that he has every intention of doing something differently this offseason from the way he's always done it in the past. Listen.
I would bet that we will spend more money in free agency than we have. I look at where we are with Dak, and I look at where he is in his career, and I look at some of the pluses that we have on our front and what we think we can do there and what we can do with Pickens and Lamb and what we can do with our running back that we just signed. And so all of those things, I want to do everything we possibly can to stop somebody and to basically win some third downs more than we did last year. And so I think that would be the area that you would see me bust the budget.
Bust the budget, says Jerry Jones. Who is it that made the analogy this morning on the call? It's like Dad has just said, we're going to go out to an expensive restaurant. We're going to finally spend some money. We've been waiting and waiting. Is this about to be a transformative offseason for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys?
Greedy, they're certainly on the precipice of it. And let me tell you why. They have 2 first-round picks. They have a lot of different levers they can pull on the salary cap. Adam Schefter tweeted about it. It's from Dak Prescott all the way through CeeDee Lamb. There's about 5 or 6 guys. They could create a massive amount of room. So if you think about urgent needs that they have, pass rusher, corner, they could certainly create the room to go get a Trey Hendrickson and then go draft a corner. They have a championship offense. If they're middle of the road on defense, guys, they have a real chance.
So we were talking about whether their window was closing. We talked about that a lot lately. Dan, what do you think of that window?
I really think a new window is starting if they hit this offseason the right way. I firmly believe that less than 5% of the money that the Cowboys have presently allocated to their team is spent on free agents. Yet this has been a good football team for the better part of half of a decade. So that tells you Will McClay, who's really like the person choosing their players in many ways, it tells you the job he's done. They're 2 or 3 players away on defense from all of a sudden becoming real contenders. Totally agree on their offense. They got to get Pickens to at least play on the tag. They'll figure that out, hopefully. But if they can get a backer, an edge rusher, and a secondary player that are high-end players, that defense gets solid, and now we're talking about a team that contends.
I want to set the stage in Indy. Everyone's there, all the teams, except for maybe the Jaguars and the Rams, and you have your people, and they wear their team paraphernalia. Where you walk down the street, downtown Indianapolis, there is a giant luxury bus with the star on it. And that is Jerry and Steven, and they want themselves to be known. We are here. We are glamour. We are the Cowboys. And when Jerry's talking like this, it means this might be the offseason they actually open their wallets and spend. I would point to Christian Parker, a name that might not be as familiar with everybody, a 34-year-old who they hired as their new defensive coordinator. Comes from the Eagles, where he was their defensive backs coach. He does a lot of that too-high safety shell and is one of these guys that brings a spirit and a youth, and they're going to need him to coach his butt off because that defense was atrocious last year.
That's why I would raid Seattle if I was Dallas. I mean, Dallas's defense was so bad last year. You talk about the too-high shell and this defense needing perimeter players or secondary players. They were beat so often in coverage. Can you get Kobe Bryant from Seattle?
Tariq Woolen's a free agent.
Tariq Woolen from Seattle. Boye Mafe from Seattle. I just there's people there that if you pick the right ones in Dallas, you hit.
Okay, so we've got that side of it. Jerry Jones says he's going to spend money. We'll see if they can redo the defense. There is also this lingering issue on the offense. Is the George Pickens thing going to be simple to get accomplished?
It'll be impossible, Greeny. If you said, I'm saying the date of September 1st, I'm taking later, and here's why. If we go back a year ago with Micah Parsons, that deal should have been 10 minutes. Highest paid pass rusher, done. This deal is going to be like Dallas saying, hey, T. Higgins is at $28 million. We're going to make you the highest paid second receiver. He's going to say, absolutely no way. Look at my production last year. I am a number one receiver. This deal is impossible to get done, and I'm telling you, we're going to be talking about it September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Well, hold on. So you tell me it's impossible to get done. Does that mean he's not going to play? Like, what does that mean to you?
That's up to him then, right?
Yeah, I think what happens, like both franchise players that are disgruntled, he'll show up the Tuesday before opening day so he doesn't miss a paycheck. But I just don't see a long-term deal getting done because they're not going to pay him as a frontline number one receiver, which is what he's going to want.
That's a problem for Dallas. Like, that totally changes everything because if he's going to miss this whole offseason and then training camp, we know what that looks like. We know the player's more than likely going to get injured and some soft tissue, God forbid. He's more than likely not going to produce the same way. And so if you're Dallas, I understand the impossible thing, but if you're Dallas, you can't throw away this year. This is a really important year. There's a window that
But there's nothing in their DNA over the last 10 years, going back to Zeke Elliott, that says they're going to be proactive and aggressive with their own guys.
Not to mention the fact that I'm not sure it makes sense to give George Pickens a top-of-the-line contract when you need to redo your defense and you have C.D. Lamb. I mean,
it's the luxury. It's the luxury of through a collective bargaining agreement, they have the ability to use the franchise tag. It's what the players agreed to. So as much as he can kick and scream, and his agent will definitely do his best to get him a long-term deal and big money this offseason, it's kind of the situation that the players put themselves in. It was a one-year prove-it deal for George Pickens. He proved it. Now the team is able to say, we're going to tag you. We're sorry. Is he going to miss all those paychecks this summer? You think that's the wisest thing if you're George Pickens, especially if you want to hit free agency next year?
Can someone trade for him?
Yes.
Sure.
And what's it going to cost somebody
on the
to
tag,
trade for him?
it's 2 ones.
Yeah,
isn't it?
no one's going to give up 2 ones. I mean, could somebody potentially give up a first-round pick? I doubt it, given all the receivers in this year's draft. But is that a possibility? Absolutely.
There's also the reputation of George Pickens, which is unfair to him because last year he actually went for 1,400 yards and was the best player on the Cowboys team. But there's this reputation that let's see it when the money's not dangling in front of you. Let's see it when the carrot's not there. Of course, he has the history and why he was traded for a third-round pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So we'll wait and see. So again, for the Cowboys, there's always a little bit of drama circling around the otherwise good news. And then there are your opinion.
Greeny, it was Ty Simpson, quarterback Alabama. Coming into the combine, all we heard is what he couldn't do. He didn't finish great. He only had 15 career starts. He was by far the best thrower of the football. He is clearly QB2. There's a much bigger gap between QB2 and QB3 than QB1. Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson. Outstanding workout on Saturday.
Dan, what did you think?
I thought Ty Simpson, 2 things. The ball came off his hand the most naturally and the best feet. I agree. Also, the fact that he weighed in about 10 to 15 more pounds than he did when he was playing at the end of the season for Alabama. Clearly thought it was the best quarterback performance. And I think it solidifies his first half of the first round standing.
That's sort of the way it feels like it's trending right now. You know, I do the podcast all year. So there was a moment in this season when people were talking about him as QB1, and then it falls off. But now it seems like it's sort of the roller coaster is headed back up again. What are you hearing from teams about him?
He actually interviewed tremendously well also. You have to understand, this is the son of a coach, and not just a high school coach, a college coach. His father, Jason Simpson, has been the coach at UT Martin since 2006. Ty Simpson was basically a Marv Marinovich-style ball in your hands at the cradle and has been a quarterback his entire life. And when he interviewed with teams, his cerebral nature, his ability to call out coverages. There was one moment where a team told me they asked him, hey, Ty, give us the longest play call you've done. He named the down, the distance, the opponent, the score. He has one of those brains. That's something you don't see on film that you get in the interview process.
Limited number of games played, so much to talk about. He's going to be the most interesting player, I think, as we work towards the draft. That said, who do you think is the best player in the draft?
Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. This young man put on an absolute show when it comes to physical talent and athletic ability at the combine. To be his size and to run 4.36 coming off of his performance in his career at Notre Dame. I know he's not going to go number 1 overall. That is more than likely going to be Fernando Mendoza. But when it comes to the best player in the draft, that's Jeremiah Love.
I've been hearing that all season long, from Mel, Mike, and the question is just about the position, right? How high are you willing to take a running back? Because there's no pick that's too high for the talent in this case.
Correct. And there were even some teams that said he could play receiver at the NFL. So I think going into the draft, we said, oh, he'll just go to Kansas City at 9.
Nah.
I agree with Dan. Oh, he's top 5 because he's so explosive. You take that time speed with 42 career touchdowns, Greeny. I can see John Harbaugh, first pick as a New York Giant, say, hey, we're going to build around this guy.
No shot he falls to number 9.
We'll see. The Giants obviously took Saquon Barkley once upon a time that high in the draft. We'll see if they do it again. And then, Peter, let's get to the player that you said was the most talked about one at the Combine. And, of course,